Hey fellow golfers, it's been a while since I did a clip, partly because in the last few months I've been focusing on significantly improving my own game, playing 4 or 5 times a week, early morning, testing out different combinations of clubs to suit the courses I'm playing, to suit my swing. I thought I would restart my clips with a quick what's in the bag at present for my game. I actually walk with my clubs. I take half a set. I rarely need the full set, and I vary which clubs I take depending on the specific course and the conditions, different for combination for winter and summer because of rollout distances. So have adjusted over time my clubs to customize them and fit them to myself. That doesn't just include the lie. I happen to be too flat on the irons and the wedges. And if you want to check out your lie or the lie of your clubs and whether it's the right for you, take a look at my clip on how to check your lie in a very simple way. But also it includes which shaft suited me best, which grip I liked, the length of the clubs in some instances, and I'll cover that shortly. So without further ado, let's get started. If we start at the top of the bag, my current driver is the TaylorMade Stealth 10.5, but I set it at 11. I tried different loft settings to see what gave me the optimal window of launch, apex height, descent angle, and rollout in the case of the driver. So it's set at 11. I have a lighter shaft to help me come through the ball quickly. It's the Fujikura Air Speeder 45, and being lighter it means I can feel the head more, and it allows me therefore to control the head better, and that is now giving me a more accurate drive. In other words, my dispersion, particularly east and west, has come down significantly. When I initially tried the stock shaft, this is an option in the stock shaft with no extra cost, but when I tried the Fujikura Ventus Red, it didn't work out for me. My dispersion was significantly wider. That tells you that you also need to adjust your shaft choice. The other thing I did was the standard length on the TaylorMade drivers of 45.75 inches. I ordered this to spec to 45 inches and I gripped down about half an inch. And that has also given me the same distances as I was getting before, but much tighter dispersion and control and less drop off north to south. So that was another factor that I adjusted. One of my go-to clubs since is the Callaway Epic Max 3 fairway, and I have the Mitsubishi MMT 70 in regular shaft, a very stable shaft, which I have in my Wedge and I used to have in my previous irons. Very nice shaft. I don't have it in my new irons, even though the brand of the new irons is the same as my previous set, partly because I needed a bit more launch apex height, and I was getting that with the shaft that I'll come to. So this is really my go-to club at these days, my 3 fairway. Then depending on the day and conditions, I take out my hybrid. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, partly to keep the bag light and partly because given how I am able to vary the strike on my 3 fairway, I don't necessarily need this in every case, but I do enjoy it. And that is the Callaway Epic Super Hybrid 2021 318 Hybrid 318. set at 20. This I adjust 2 degrees up. Absolutely great super club. The shaft in this is a wonderful shaft. It's the Aerotech steel fiber 75 regular hybrid shaft. Not adjusted for any length, so that was the standard length. Great little club that I enjoy using. Then let me just switch to my putter for a moment before going to the irons and wedges. And I take this out sometimes and not other times because I putt a lot with my hybrid or the leading edge of my wedge, mainly to keep the number of clubs down, and I putt with them very well. In fact, it's a great habit to use your leading edge of your wedge because you learn not to to have too much body movement to be able to strike it properly, and then when you go back to the putter, it allows you to have that much smoother stroke. This is the Tommy Armour Impact number 3. So this is a wonderful putter. I haven't felt the need for a change, although I do possess a right-handed, all my clubs are left-handed because I'm a natural right-hander, Scotty Cameron 5, which I sometimes alternate between this and that. Similar mallet style, but this is my primary putter. So to my current iron set, this is the PXG Gen 5 P, and it has a heavier weight than the standard weight. Standard weight is 8 grams. Put in 10 grams because again it gives me a much better control of the head. I can feel the head by making it slightly heavier. Many pros put weights on their clubs. This is a superb set. I used to have the Gen 3s. I upgraded really because by changing the shaft to this shaft, the Project X Cypher 5.5 60 shaft, it has given me much better accuracy, better launch conditions, better apex height, and better stopping on the green. I only have 6-2 pitching wedge in my irons, and as I mentioned, I only tend to take half a set. So currently, in the conditions that I'm in at the moment, that I'm facing on the course, I am taking 6-8 pitching wedge out with me. I have the 7-9 if I have other conditions. So, and then the hybrid gives me the gap in between that and my 3-wood fairway, and so it meets all my requirements. Absolutely superb shaft, superb club. Then let's go to my gap wedge, which is the PXG, but it's not in the Gen 5 set. This is the Forge 0311 original forged PXG 50 degree 10 bounce. It's become my go-to club for short scoring distances and around the green, while the 3 fairway is my go-to club for the long distances, the 200-yard shots into the green or near to the green. Second shots in par 5s, second shots in long par 4s. This is a absolutely beautiful feel. It has a beautiful feeling to it. I went with it on the off chance as opposed to getting the gap wedge in the P, and I haven't looked back since, but I have the same shaft as my irons. Then I have 3 other wedges, and the reason I focus on the gap wedge and the other wedges, and I'm tinkering with the different ones, is because they're really your scoring clubs. They're the ones in and around the green. They're the ones if you short side yourself. This is the one I use if I short side myself and for short chip shots. It's a beautiful club. It's a Ben Hogan Equalizer 2, fully forged. This is a 58 degree with a graphite shaft. In this particular case, they did it in the UST Mamiya recoil, 760 regular. And The reason I have graphite shafts in my wedges is because I want the same feel through the set from my irons. I don't like the different feel of an iron shaft after using the graphite shafts in other clubs. I have the same Van Hogen Equalizer 2 in the 54 degree, so sometimes I take that out if I drop out that gap wedge of the PXG, so I vary it a little bit. The other wedge I have, which I'm playing around with at the moment to see if it ends up in my bag, perhaps instead of the 58, is a 56 degree TaylorMade mill grind 3, and I have the MMT Mitsubishi regular shaft in that. It's doing very well. I'm adjusting to it a little bit. I would say that compared to the Ben Hogan's, there's not that much difference. The feel of the Ben Hogan's is probably better. Maybe at some point I might try the new Callaway Jaws Raw wedge in a graphite shaft too, to see which one in the long term gives me the best performance and consistency and confidence. But all of these wedges have served me well so far, and I'm enjoying using them. The PXG 50 degree is probably my favorite one, and then followed by the Ben Hogan at the current time. So that's what's in the bag. What you will notice is I'm brand agnostic in the sense that it's whatever clubs work best for me in each specific area, and therefore TaylorMade in the driver, Callaway in the 3-wood, the PXGs in the irons, Ben Hogan's and TaylorMade in the wedges, and a Tommy Armour putter. I also don't think you need a full set. I think I play very well with a half set. Occasionally I might feel on the course for the odd one shot that I'm in between clubs, but actually when you get used to using the different clubs, every other club, in a versatile way, you get much better at your game. So I strongly recommend people to really get to know certain clubs very well and get to be versatile with them. The other aspect was trying to customize the clubs to suit you and your swing, to suit your gaps that you need for your particular course and course conditions. So again, the TaylorMade wedge has a larger bounce, so I don't use it as often these days because it's the summer. It's more hard pan, and so you need less bounce. So I tend to use the less bounce wedges that I have for the current time. In the winter time, or when it's lush after rain, then the larger bounce is better. So this is something else to take into account as you identify the clubs that work best for you. I hope you found this little clip on what's in my bag at the current time somewhat interesting, and perhaps some tips for you to take away in terms of adjusting your set. See you on the flip side.